Hey, good day, friends. I was just thinking a lot about mental health here recently, and that brought to my attention this. I was actually going through and trying to share some information about universally preferable behavior, and I wanted to try to cite something that wasn't Stefan Molyneux' work. So I was doing a Google on him, and I found this other site, the Freedomain Liberated Forum, which is FDR Liberated.com. And they had some very interesting things to say about Stefan. There are always detractors and critics to anything new, anything different than the normal. And I think anyone who is seeking a more clear view on what's going on today, because I think everybody suffers from mental illness, or the things that are happening today wouldn't be happening. And I believe that the root of that is the application of force where no force should be applied. And so the forum here, I got involved in a thread that's called "Is Stefan Molyneux Freedomain Radio Responsible for a Suicide?" And I guess you can look into it a little bit more, but one of his supposedly one of his neophytes on the doctrines that Stefan teaches cut all his he disassociated from his family and tried to set up a new life without any support system, because he was previously supported by his family solely, and he committed suicide, sadly. And I suffer from suicidal ideation all the time, and I've suffered from this for more than well, in '97 is when I finally figured out that I had a problem and sought help, treatment for it. And I went to a therapist, and they prescribed antidepressants. And I subsequently lost my naval career, and I've been having a pretty difficult time ever since. And through all this, I've gone to several therapists. I've been under the care several different times. Right now, I'm supposed to be under the care of the Eureka clinic, but they will not allow me to tape these my sessions with them. You can look back in my channel and see the last one I had, and that kind of prevents me from talking to them about my personal situation or trying to resolve it. All they want to do is prescribe an antidepressant and maybe listen to me once a week, through therapy. And my challenge has always been other people and life circumstances and stuff. I've been in therapy before, and it costs a lot of money. So Stefan has a system here that is beneficial to people. It's beneficial to me. Because and just coming out of a depressive episode that I suffered from ever since going to jail back in, March. But this isn't unusual in my life, that I finally find something in life to take my attention away from my woes and finally get on with life again. But in some of that stuff that I've heard recently has been Stefan. In fact, I listened to quite a few of his podcasts and YouTube channel all the time. And it just seems to me what the man is saying is the answer. The freedom principle, we own our bodies, we can control that. Non-aggression principle, I'm not going to get the state to go out and force you to do anything. And this universal preferable behavior, which by all means is not an answer to all will, or all situations, because all situations are kind of subjective and are not universal because of the individual involved or the situation itself. So, like in some of the discussions, the lifeboat situation and two guys in a room, I mean, these are good illustrative, problems, but it's great in theory, but putting it into practice it's much more complicated, and then it becomes really subjective a lot, and that's kind of like where I guess we get all goofed up on morality. But anyway, my main thing is just there's a lot of information out there that I've been going through here recently. I mean, stuff from Ayn Rand to Milton Friedman, lots of weird stuff. And I don't know, just the thing is that we have to be willing to try different things and not be so critical. I mean, because the thing that really bothers me about these guys is that it seems like they give the psychiatrists and these psychotropic drugs so much credence, when in my experience I have not found that to be the case. I mean, I've had 3 loved ones commit suicide. First, there was Michael McNamara. He was a good friend during high school, and he was an Army veteran, and he was under VA care, and he got out of the hospital one time, and was pretty wigged out when he found out, or when his former wife told him that because of the previous drama that happened that landed him into the hospital, he would not ever be able to see his 2 daughters again. So I guess he went home and he ate all his medication and checked out. The second person that I knew that was real close to me that committed suicide was my friend Doug. He was also a veteran. Him and I he was a neighbor at one of the apartments that I used to manage, and we became good friends, and we were about to start a internet business, email marketing business, and I got a call from my friends, Josh and Melanie, who lived in one of the units that I owned, and they told me that, oh my God, Doug killed himself, and oh my goodness, and he shot himself. And his family just came over and just picked through his things and didn't even care about him. I'm the one that had to clean up the place and clean his blood off the floor before, because the landlord didn't want to do it. Nobody wanted to do it. So I'm the one that did that. And it was just really weird, you know, because his family just acted so just like, it was really weird. And then to go to the funeral and see it again, it was really weird. And then recently, my sister-in-law, Michelle, committed suicide. And I don't know all the details on her, but, you know, she seemed to have a good life going. Married, kids, doing fine. And, you know, then I find out one day that, you know, she had committed suicide. And it's just so tragic. I mean, suicide is just so tragic. I mean, and that's just why I think when I see that in myself, that's what I think. It's just so tragic. But, you know, no matter who you talk to about it, or how much you try to talk about it, sometimes that doesn't matter. I mean, many of these problems stem from relationship issues. And today, I know very few people that have good, great, strong relationships. I mean, now a good relationship these days is the exception, not the rule. And that's the root of all this, I think, mental illness. And that we're not taking, you know, responsibility for ourselves. We always put it on the psychiatrist. We always put it on our wives and family and everything, when it's really our decision. So, you know, I haven't read too much about, you know, all of Stefan and everything, and, you know, so, you know, that's why I'm making this video and participating in this thread. But it just seems to me that any tool out there that might help someone shouldn't necessarily just be criticized because the person doesn't have an academic credential. I've been dealing with people with academic credentials the entire time I've suffered from PTSD depression. That's mostly all the people I've dealt with. But the most helpful advice and techniques that I've gotten are actually from spiritual, from religious type things, and friends and family that, you know, care to listen. And that's one thing that Stefan talks about is, you know, that's one of the biggest taboo subjects. You can't talk about your bad childhood with your friends, you know, or you risk losing your friends. So, you know, I think a lot of the things that he says are right on. And sure, you know, there's just, you can't put too much currency in that bank. You know, you gotta distribute your risk. And anybody that's just going to one doctor, you know, psychiatrist, and they're not feeling well, they're not feeling better or whatever, I mean, you should look into other therapies, other solutions, because that pill and that therapist, all they want to do is keep writing the script and keep having you come back next week. And, you know, it does take an awful long time to get, you know, treated through a psychiatry, and it costs a lot of money. And it just seems to me like some of the approaches that Stefan has is like not spanking your kids. That just seems totally to make sense, you know, and disassociation from an abusive family. That just really makes sense, man. And there are some people out there, I mean, because I've been told this myself. You know, you come from an abusive family. I never thought of that because I accepted it. You know, I was a bad kid and I deserved to be beat. And that's not true. Totally not true. And And that has implications on your life, you know. And so what? You know, I haven't talked to my dad in like almost 5 years, you know. And it's not because well, I don't know if he's done it or not, but, you know, it's not on my part. I wonder why Dad doesn't call, why Dad doesn't answer my emails, or, you know, he's still my friend on Facebook, and you know, like I said, happy birthday, Dad, and I never hear anything from him, you know, so who knows, you know, maybe it's just an ignorance thing. He don't know what, maybe he's, I don't know. But, you know, that break in our communication, in our relationship, it affects me today. But, you know, am I going to get the state or somebody else in the family or somebody to intervene to get Dad to call? I don't know, man. It's just, you know, what's going on with the world? What's the answer? I have no idea. But anyway, I just hope that this is some information, just some discussion on some things that are going on in your life, and that, you know, it might help you. Thanks a lot, and have a good day.